Hello and welcome to the British Dapper, and today we're talking about royals are leading the reuse revolution. Sustainable fashion tips. So today, inspired by one of my subscribers, I'm looking at King Charles and the royal family in relation to their fashion, the way they dress, and the things that they're passionate about. Now, King Charles is passionate about sustainability and reusing clothes. And we've seen many times where he's been pictured wearing clothes that have been repaired or shoes that he's had for a long period of time that have been repaired over the years. Whilst a person of his stature could have new clothes and new shoes on a frequent basis provided for him, he chooses to promote the use of reusing items of clothing and also promotes the sustainability of our world resources. And over the years, he's taken several actions to promote these values. So one of the first things that comes to mind is his re-wearing of clothing. He regularly wears clothes that he's had for decades, including a herringbone tweed coat from 1986, a restored Barber jacket, and his late father's double-breasted camel coat, to name but a few. He also reuses historical garments as well. For his coronation in 2023, he wore historical garments from the royal collection, including a coronation glove made for his grandfather, George VI, in 1937. He supports local artisans and he supports them through his charity works. For example, the King's Foundation, which aims to preserve handcraft skills. So one of the things that he's recently introduced is a set of standards, environmental standards, for companies that apply for the royal warrants. And that drives them to consider their own environmental impact and also what they're doing to reduce, reuse and recycle. In 2020, he introduced the Sustainable Markets Initiative to encourage the private sector to take action on the environment. When it comes to the other members of the royal family, they're not shy of reusing clothing either. And recently we saw Prince William, the future heir to the throne, join the sustainability secondhand style movement by wearing vintage clothes to the Earthshot Prize held on the 6th of November in Cape Town, South Africa. And I think that was a very big push towards promoting the use of recycling, reusing and reducing those overall environmental impacts. And that made me think about my own behaviours when it comes to buying clothes. And whilst I often try and reduce the amount of new clothes I buy, I tend to promote the use of second-hand items, whether that be through charity shop purchases or through eBay or through Vinted or some other second-hand platform. I do it primarily from a point of view of reducing and saving money, but also I'm aware that there is an environmental issue in the background as well. And I'd much rather people purchased items that are sustainable to start with and natural fibres rather than man-made fibres. Now, man-made fibres take a long while to break down, so they are a hazard in their own right. But equally, a lot of people are probably not aware of this, but even when it comes to natural fibres, they can take a long time to break down as well. They don't break down over a matter of days. It takes years and years and years, even hundreds of years before they are totally absorbed back into the environment. So there is a significant impact even with people buying natural fibered materials. The point really is about the amount that we use as a nation and as a planet isn't necessarily needed. And I promote the use, as I said before, about using second-hand, primarily from a financial point of view, but also there's a significant ecological point to be gained from this, in that we're not producing more and more materials unnecessarily, and by our actions of not purchasing new stuff all the time, we are influencing people to potentially consider buying second-hand. And that's why I applaud King Charles and Prince William for their actions recently in promoting that. Now, I'm not against people buying new stuff. And when it comes to my own wardrobe, sometimes there's a particular thing that I feel I can only purchase new because they no longer make it. The artisans no longer manufacture that particular item. Or it could be the fact that it's unique or bespoke, and therefore it wouldn't be able to achieve or obtain it by any other means other than having it made new specifically for you. But that comes down to personal choice, and I try and balance that. If I can't buy it second hand, then it then falls to potentially buying it from new, and then I question myself, do I really need that item? Is there something else I could purchase that would look similar but is second hand, using what is already available to me, either through eBay or through charity shops? And I think the stigma has moved away from people that use second-hand clothes. And I use the term second-hand clothes because it's very easy to get that confused or glamorize that by saying that it is pre-loved or pre-owned. It is what it is at the end of the day. Somebody else has had that item before you. The question is whether it is still usable, is it still viable as a product to use? So, as I said, I'm just pushing forward the idea or the concept of buying things second-hand. Now, there are some other issues when you buy things from Vinted or from particularly eBay as an example. If you purchase something from abroad, then obviously there is some ecological points to consider, because that item might be flown over to this country before it goes into the postal system. That has an environmental impact. And also something else that I hadn't factored in, I recently purchased a pair of shoes, and without realising when I'd clicked pay for them, I inadvertently ordered an item from the Ukraine, which in itself is not a problem. But the problem was when the item arrived in the UK, I got a significant tax request for £22 on top of the original value of the shoes, which wasn't a major issue because the shoes were well worth that price. But it's something that I wasn't particularly aware of at the time when I ordered them and paid for them. So I think this country is, in a way, trying to tax anything that comes from abroad into the UK, and it has a way of potentially influencing people from buying abroad in the future. Just something to consider. So I'm interested in what your views are on reusing, recycling clothing and other items, for example shoes, and do you feel that it will make an impact on the environment or on the planet as a whole? Let me know what you think. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe, then please feel free to do so. We have a Buy Me a Coffee page, so if you'd like to make a contribution to the channel, then please feel free to do so. We also love constructive comments, so if you'd like to make some, jot them down below. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. And if you've got a question you'd like to pose to us, or you'd like an answer to, then why not jot it down? We'll try and answer your question for you. We also like ideas for future videos, so if you want to make a contribution and make a suggestion about future content, then please again jot it in the notes below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. The next video could be something that you've recommended or suggested. So until next time, take care.